It's about 9 minutes before the hour. We're talking with Sunsara Taylor, who is the spokesperson for WorldCan'tWait.org. Check him out. Now, Sunsara, on November 2nd, which I believe is a Wednesday, the no work, no school, gather in the town squares and move out from there. What is it that you are hoping for or wanting Americans to do?
Well, November 2nd, basically, like you said, no work, no school, and people are going to pour out. We want to regroup and sort of crack open this alleged mandate that George Bush claimed last November 2nd and say, no, you don't represent us. We're not going to speak anymore in these reasoned tones and the acceptable political framework about compromised positions in the face of utterly insane measures. We've got to get out of this dynamic of fighting Bush's outrages one at a time, constantly losing ground to the whole onslaught. This is a launch and a forging together nationwide of hundreds of thousands of people who are going to dare to take history into our own hands and say, you know what? No more waiting. There's not going to be a magical pendulum swing. There's not going to be a savior from the Democratic Party. It's on us, and we either act now or we accept becoming a nation of torturers, and we're no different than Lindy England.
The protest was organized by a group called The World Can't Wait, Drive Out the Bush Regime.
While chanting, rescue, not repression.
In Manhattan, a rally criticizing the Bush
during a protest organized by an anti-Bush group known as The World Can't Wait.
The march was meant to protest the Bush administration's treatment of the refugees.
Bus drivers were getting out of our way and honking in support. People were rolling down their windows and taking flyers and giving us a thumbs up. Everybody knows that what's happening in New Orleans is a crime. We're out here to mourn, but we're also here to demand that the government immediately provide aid and rescue and cease the repression, that they be held responsible for shooting to kill at people who are trying to survive. November 2nd, we launched this movement nationwide. You're all invited and urged to take this up because the world truly cannot wait. New Orleans truly cannot wait. We must drive this regime from power.
The coffin is the lead. All the instruments will follow.
But the question that people need to start asking themselves is, what is it going to take, and what are you willing to do? This guy's got to be driven out. He does not represent us. And waiting and the logic of seeking common ground with religious fanatics and fascists is just, it's insane. This needs to get two-sided for once. How come it is that people get so passionate? I'm sorry, out in Colorado you get these, these fundamentalist parents who are so passionate, they have a book burning. This stuff is going on. They're passionate. And we can't get passionate on our side and say, no, we are not accepting this. And one of the things that I think we'll start to see happen is that some of these people who've been so badly fooled into getting sucked along with a program that's not in their interest, they might actually get challenged and woken up for the first time.
Welcome back to Hannity and Combs. I'm Alan Combs. Coming up, have Republicans in Congress taken a hit for sticking up for Terri Schiavo? You'll hear from Pennsylvania Senator Rick Santorum. First joining us now is Sunsara Taylor, who traveled all the way to Florida to stand outside Terry's hospice. Sunsara, tell us, why did you do this? What's going on here?
Well, I went down there because I really think that the federal government has no business being in such intimate details of someone's life and death. And it was one thing when forces, extreme forces like Randall Terry were down there, but it was another thing when the federal government, Congress, and the president get snapped back into session. I think what's going on in this country is a power grab by some religious extremists. I would call them Christian fascists.
Neither one of you have seen Terri Schiavo.
And I promise you, most of the protesters out front of that clinic, out front of the hospice, haven't either. They are being manipulated and lied to as well.
From nurses.
How about the 32 doctors who have filed affidavits, who only viewed her through a video?
Thank you. Thank you both very much for being with us. Still to come, Senator Rick Santorum.
It's going to start. It's going to be on November 2nd. It's going to be the beginning, the first day in a whole movement. It'll be a day when history started to turn. The America that we once knew is never coming back. We're either going forward into Bush's future or a future that we fight for and forge ourselves.
The battle over Terry Schiavo's fate compelled our next two guests to travel from New York to Pinellas Park, Florida.
Earlier we talked about communists. They're here. Sunsara Taylor, Michael Schiavo supporter, and Deborah Sweet. Welcome to both of you.
Hi, good morning.
So why, as a communist, do you think it's good that Michael is supported?
Well, I think what's happening right now is that from the highest levels of government, Tom DeLay, George Bush, Bill Frist, they are using this case to make a big power grab towards theocracy in this country. It's a very dangerous precedent. The real engine behind this, the very big danger that motivated us to go down there, was the fact that Congress got snapped back into session to overrule the rule of law, the will of the people, science and reason, medical fact. This case has been manipulated.
I think that this is a larger political issue.
So you don't think that anybody has compassion for a woman who is starving to death?
When Bush says culture of life, it's huge hypocrisy. And like Deborah said, if you're going to oppose stem cell research, which could help people who actually are disabled and could recover.
So if he was for stem cells, you would think it's okay for the president to
If he was for stem cell, if he was against killing 100,000 people in Iraq, it's hypocrisy for this man to talk about a culture of life.
How can the government, with a little luck, we'll all be communists and everything will be okay?
We've got to take a break.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us. Sunsara Taylor.
People around the planet who hate what the Bush regime is doing, who think that Americans have lost their minds, and to have gone along with this, they need to see that there's a force in this country, a movement of millions, that's taking responsibility for the fight that's going to be entailed, not waiting for somebody to step in and do this for us, but taking responsibility to fight to derail the whole direction that the Bush regime is taking things, to force Bush himself to step down from office, and to reverse the whole direction that his regime is taking society.